If you're a successful realtor, you may not be asking yourself quite often, why do real estate agents fail? But if your career has stalled, I'm gonna give you 9 tips to get you back on track. The first one is, I don't want you to be complacent. Did you know that most agents are actually fighting for 7% of the market? Let's be real, there's a lot of competition, a lot of real estate agents in most marketplaces, and you can't be at any given point in time. You cannot just think that everything is all good, the market is all good, the economy is all good, and that you will continuously get enough clients. Because when you think that, this is when things start to decline, and when you start to take your foot off the gas, this is when your competitors come in, take all your business, and then you start to lose track and lose momentum. I want you to remember that if we go back to the basics, you don't have a boss. You are your own boss. And you don't have a job, you have a lifestyle. And for that reason, you have to be able to use productivity apps to maximize your schedule and be able to do everything you need to do on track and every single day. And it's all about you, right? So if prospective clients or the actual clients that you think you will sign are not liking you, then they'll go see somewhere else. So it's your job as a real estate agent to make people like you and to work on your personal brand and on yourself to improve your weaknesses and make sure that you are able to build trust easily with prospective clients. While we all want to make as much money as possible, you want to also consider your client's needs first, because when you put the money first, oftentimes you put your client needs second. And when you do the actual opposite, where you prioritize your client's needs, you'll actually end up making more money in the long run. Why? Because they have a better experience, better word of mouth will come from that as well. They'll refer you to their friends, their family. And when the time comes to sell or buy the actual property, once again in 5 or 7 years, who they'll think of? You, because you gave them a great experience. If you felt like you've lost momentum in your real estate business, remember that it is your job to take the most responsibility possible when doing a transaction with a buyer or a seller. We talked about not getting complacent, but let's talk about an actual example of realtors getting complacent at a certain point in their career. So in your contract, it says that the client has to prepare for an open house and have everything ready, but when you get there, the kitchen is a mess, complete mess, with a load of dirty dishes on the counter. Great realtors will step in, fix the issue for their client without lecturing their client on what they needed to do or referring back to the contract. You need to do whatever it takes to get the job done and get your commission at the end of the day. If you want to get your real estate business back on track, you got to respect the bigger picture. Meaning, if you haven't closed a few deals, or if you've gone into a few listing appointments and you didn't manage to get the contract, don't worry. It's all a numbers game, and in the future appointments that you might get, you might actually be closing back to back to back to back all of them and get them all as listings, whereas the past 10 listing appointments that you've gone to, you've closed 0. The other advice I'll give you is that you cannot cancel. Clients can cancel meetings, but you cannot, because this is not professional and it shows that you're not necessarily prioritizing your business. When you say you're going to be somewhere to someone, so be it. Make it happen, do not be late, and be prepared. Because when you are facing clients, when you have the foot in the door, this is the most valuable time that you can spend on your business. This is where deals are being closed. You're getting the money, guys. This is important. Don't mess it up. One thing you can do to not miss any appointments is to create reminders inside your calendar for reminding you 2 hours before the appointment, an hour before, and also 15 minutes the appointment. That way you know exactly when to prepare, and you can also prepare your whole week in advance. If you know you have specific meetings in the upcoming days, you can also plan your schedule so that you know exactly how much driving time you're gonna need to get to each appointment, and then plan everything from there in advance in your calendar. If you know all of the trips that you're gonna have to make, driving to that client and then going back, and then you see that, oh wow, this specific client that I'm also supposed to meet is nearby that first client, let me just book that meeting right after them, so that way I can be more efficient and not waste time going back home or going back to the office and then having to go back once again another day to that second client. An easy way for you to get back on track is not to overpromise, but instead to underpromise and overdeliver. Imagine this: a realtor had a lead on a condo listing. He told the client, okay, I'll be there with my maintenance guy and my lead painter, and we'll tell you exactly what you need to do to get your unit up for sale and ready. And then when the realtor met the client, he was alone with nobody else, and said, oh, sorry, my guys were not available, they were stuck doing another job. And then he starts to explain what happened was whatever the story afterwards. No client in the world wants to hear this. Instantly, you're losing your credibility if you start to do that, because you promised something and you weren't able to deliver. So instead, if you're not sure about something, do not tell the client, but tell the client instead. Do not tell the client a false promise or something that you hope will happen, but tell them what you expect and what you will be doing on your side as the action, and do not promise the result, but instead promise the action you'll be doing. For example, I will personally call them as soon as we end this meeting, personally call my lead painter and my maintenance guy to see if they are available. If they are, then we'll be able to come in and tell you exactly how to put your property up for sale. If not, then XYZ backup plan. If you want to get your real estate back on track and get momentum like you used to before, instead of being stalled and plateaued, you want to learn how social media really works. At the end of the day, you cannot deny it. If you are not in the boat of social media and paid advertising online and lead generation, you, my friend, are resisting technology and are missing out, and you'll be eaten by the new agents that are embracing technology to their advantage. Simply watching a few videos online on how to generate leads on Facebook or Google isn't necessarily enough. You actually need to implement it, right? Watching something is great, learning about it is great, but you need to have first-hand experiences in order to actually understand the concept and internalize what it means to generate leads online. The eighth tip I'll give you is to be available. Some clients prefer talking on the phone, some email, and some by text. But what all of them have in common is that they all like to get an answer as soon as possible. Think of the last time you wanted to have an appointment. Whether that be for a haircut, a dentist appointment, or if you're a woman, to get your nails done. No matter what it is. If you want to book an appointment, when do you want to get an answer? For getting an answer within 15 minutes of you requesting that appointment, or in 2 days. Within 2 days, if you don't get an answer, you're probably going to go see someone else, one of their competitors. The last tip I'll give you guys to get back your momentum and keep scaling your real estate business and growing it is to know your market. Seems obvious, right? That being said, though, you'd be surprised how many agents they try to get into new markets that they don't necessarily know by going outside of their farm area, their geographical farm, just to get another listing, where instead they should probably not take that listing and refer the client out to another agent in the area who knows it better than him. The reason that is because if that other agent knows more than you in this market and is able to take care of that client, you're gonna get a guaranteed 25% commission for the referral. Whereas if you try to just please the client and take it just because you think, well, it's free money, I won't say no to that listing, then you're probably shooting yourself in the foot in reality, because that client is going to have wrong expectations, and you probably too, because you don't know what to expect, because it's a new market, and you're probably going to deceive that client. Your client's going to become a pain in the you know what because of that, and you're going to feel like ripping your hair off, and you're probably going to tell yourself, I shouldn't have taken that client in the first place. And the money at the end will not be worth it because of the added stress and added time required to manage that client and take care of it. Whereas if you just take clients in your market that you know that market like nothing else, like no other market in the country, right? Then it's pretty much always the same thing, right? It's repeatable, it's scalable. You want to make sure that you get clients in this market instead of trying to go out of your market and get clients just for quick bucks. At the end of the day, all career paths and businesses have down times and plateaus. Now, in my opinion, if you are not growing, you can't really be plateaued. You're either growing or you're declining. That's why you want to make sure that you go back to the basics as soon as possible so that you keep growing your business instead of going the other way. Bad times are not necessarily bad because you learn from them, and this is where you have your back against the wall. You might be stressed out, but at the end of the day, this might actually be good, because when you are stressed, when you have your back against the wall and you do everything you can to get back on track, this is where you grow the most.